2.3, we're doing stem and leaf displays. This is another way that we can arrange our data into groups. We use the numbers to show the distribution of what we have. So here in example 3, we're looking at basketball games, and we have winning scores of conference championship games over the last 25 years. So here's my list of numbers. There's 25 of them. We're going to make a stem and leaf display. So make sure when you do these, you still have to go through and label things. So my title should be something about winning scores. Or winning basketball scores, basketball conference scores, something along those. So then as we go through and find our stem and leaf display, we are going to label it as the stem column and the leaves column. Need to make sure I have enough room. Now, you start off with the lowest number in your group. So my lowest number there is 83. The stem is going to be the 8 part. The leaf is the 3 part. Your leaves are going to be the last number of your number. And we're going to put them in order from smallest to biggest. So there are no other numbers in the 80s. So my next group is the 90s. So I'm going to start with 9. I look for 90. There's no 90. Look for 91. There's no 91. Look for 92. There is a 92. So as you go through them, cross them off to make it easier for you. Now, the next biggest number is going to be 97. So what I do is just put a 7 there after the 2. Then we've got 98 and 99. Cross them off as you're going so you know what you got. So your numbers have to go from smallest to biggest. Now, in order to know what these numbers mean, we write a key with our stem and leaf plot. So for our key, we explain what the bar means between your stem and your leaf. So I would write 8 bar 3, and that represents 83 points. So that way when you go through this, you're trying to figure out what do all these numbers mean. The key tells you how to do it. Because it could mean, if that bar was there, 8.3, and we could have 8.3 points instead. So you really have to have a key so it explains what the bar means in your stem and leaf display. So we go and do the rest of our numbers. Next, we're going to have 10, also known as 100. So we're looking at everything from 100 to 109, because then our next group would be our 11, which is 110 to 119. So as I go through this, there is 101, 103, 4, 6, and 9. Again, cross them off as we're going through it. Now, if you look at your list here, we still have to do 11, 12, 13, and 14 as I run out of space here. So make sure that when you make your stem and leaf display, you have enough space. Then when you're filling in your leaves, try to have the exact same spacing for your numbers. So if you notice, I kind of put them in columns. So when I go to my 11 row and I have 111, my 1's going to fall in the first column there. My 112, I've got 3 of them, so they're going to make sure to follow in their columns. I'm not squishing them all together. This way I can see what my distribution looks like. So they have 116, 117, 118. So try to keep the same spacing in between them. Now for 120, 124, 125, 125. I've got a 131, 235, then I've got a 143. So your picture here, if you kind of tilt your head to the side, you can kind of see your distribution. It's going to show you like your histogram showed you with your numbers. So you can kind of see if it's skewed left, right, if it's symmetrical, if it's uniform. So if you look at your leaves, they show you the shape of your data. So for part B, when it says looking at the distribution, would you say it's fairly symmetrical? It does look like it's fairly symmetrical because the middle has the highest point and it kind of goes down from there. So for you try 5, I want you to pause the video. We're looking at 30 passengers and we're looking at the weights of their carry-on luggage. So you try to see what you can do by setting up your own stem and leaf display with these numbers. So hit pause on the video. So hopefully you have gone through and you have made your stem and leaf display from these 30 numbers. You should have a title. Don't forget your title. And then we can do our stem and our leaves. Now for these, you found your smallest number. The smallest number there we have is 0. So you're going to actually start with 0 because you have to have a number in your stem. The biggest number there on the list is 47. So you have to go up to 40s. Now, when you go through your leaves, you can only have one number represented on the leaves. Every time, there can only be one number that goes with your number. So, for instance, like in example 5, since we had the ones that were like 101, 103, and so forth, you can't call your stem 1 and then put 0, 1 in your leaves. Because if you put 0, 1 in your leaves, it's going to mean then 10 and 11. When you have the 1 in front. So your leaves can always just have one number. The stem can have more than 2 numbers. The leaf can only have one number to represent it. You cannot have more than one number to name it. So for my leaves here, you should have 0 and 3. We've got 2, 7, 8, 8, 9. I've got 1, 2, 6, 7, 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. Now remember, we can't stop there. You've got to tell me your key also. So it doesn't matter what numbers you choose for your key. So I'm going to choose the last number. So 4-7 represents 47 pounds. Again, you can choose any number you want, but you have to have the key so you can explain what the number with the bar and another number means for your story problem.